Alright, it seems like the remaining group of the Russian soldiers has decided to surrender to Ukrainian armed forces in Kucheryev Yar. Kucheryev Yar was encircled by Ukrainian armed forces for already very long time, and Ukraine did everything correctly, according to the book. Not in a rush, but Ukraine little by little managed to take this settlement under control using lots of the drones and infantry forces. And after all, Kucheryev Yar is very important for Ukrainian defense because it's the last settlement on the way to Zoloty Kolodets, where there is a main Ukrainian defense line ongoing in Donbass. So the next goals for this Russian group encircled in the south. Well, actually they already tried to exit their very terrible state. Probably it was one of their last desperate attempts to get out from this trap. But they chose kind of the strange direction towards Shakhova, and of course they were stopped by Ukrainian army already. For now, this Russian operation just failed. Usually Russians try to move just during the nighttime, covered with a special infantry thermal cloaks. Let me show you. Here I have this kind of the video. Yeah, I saw it today. So you may see kind of the large group of the Russian armed forces. Well, it's kind of the stupid move for them to move in this large group. Usually they move by 1-2 persons maximum. Here it was an easy target for Ukrainian drone operators. And imagine if they're not moving, they easily might be some sort of this area, yeah? Maybe those are the bushes or something. The thermal cloaks definitely help Russian infantry, but then they use it in a smart way. This group was not smart at all. So Ukraine has some certain success in this area, but speaking about the Pokros direction, well, there Russia took more territory, especially in Lentovichi, where Ukraine tried to perform the counterattack, but it was repelled by the Russian army, and the Russians took more ground, and for now, I don't think it's real to cut this Russian supply vector towards Troyanda and Shakhtarsky district. I think it's not possible, and the urban fights are ongoing. Russia storms Pokrovsk already with infantry forces. Yeah, not with the main army group they have, but it's just a matter of time. And also just recently Russians tried to advance from Promen towards Mirnograd, where they lost some of the infantry armored vehicles. The place was geolocated, definitely Russia has losses there. Yeah, they tried to go on a road with some of the vehicle. This is BTR, it was stopped and kaputted. Actually 2 of the BTRs, this is the other one, and I found it on Igor Girkin channel, wow! But probably it's not that particular Igor Girkin, however it's hard to say. By the way, my friends, I returned back to Twitter and I'm gonna put the link for it in the video description just below, where you may find my page. I already have 31 followers. Awesome, we'll see how much I can explode my Twitter channel. Yeah, I understand it's the Elon Musk platform, but I use all of the tools to propel what I do on my channel, so pro-Ukrainian content. I also subscribe for some of the analytics, and by the way, we have the news around Venezuela today, and there's gonna be the Trump's press conference. Well, I'm gonna stream it on my other channel. By the way, the link for it is also in the video description below, and Twitch as well. Oh, we have some breaking news. Lithuania's military says the 2 Russian aircraft, Sukhoi Su-30 fighter and Ilyushin-78 air tanker, briefly violated Lithuanian airspace near Kubartai this evening. NATO jets from Spain were scrambled in response. President Nauseda condemned the gross violation of international law. Yeah, condemn, each time condemn. Does Lithuania has its own air defense at least? Probably they do not have their own fighter jets, but at least air defense, I think they should have something. It is a second case for the last few months that Russian jets violate NATO airspace in Baltic states. And still there is no response. Well, maybe they follow route directives. Do not shut down Russian airplanes unless they possess threat. Well, Russian airplanes always possess threat if they fly to your airspace and they carry weaponry, missiles, bombs, and so on. And who knows what they might carry. Yeah, here now Seda says about the case with the Russian fighter jet. So please, NATO, reinforce the air defense of Lithuania because they need it, it looks like. If you really care about some sort of the security, Putin will escalate more and more. And here's the place where it was the violation of the airspace, so they entered to Kaliningrad region of Russia, then turned back and touched probably Lithuania, a little. Maybe not a little. For now, it's not been specified. So you see, Putin tries to escalate with drones, with nuclear exercise, now with violation of the airspace once again. Putin sees no reaction from NATO, so he will intensify those provocations. Alright guys, let's go back to the front line. So with this situation, I guess it's all understandable. On the right with Konstantinivka direction, everything without major changes. Russia lost one vehicle in Chasiv Yar and one tank, but those are the old losses dated several days ago. After Russian failed attempts in Pokrovsk-Dobrapida, they hesitate to use many of the vehicles. In Siversk, well, the situation is plus minus also the same. In Liman direction, I personally obtained the information about kind of the difficult situation with the Ukrainian army supplies. About Liman, I'm sure that Russians will take the settlement, just the question this year or the next one. Why am I sure? Because Russia cut those bridges and basically it's impossible. Yeah, there is one road to supply it here, also here, but Russians are using their drones to hit Ukrainian supply lines. In Kupiansk pocket, the situation is similar to Liman, so this bridge is cut, Ukraine cannot withdraw the forces, Ukraine cannot resupply the forces using this very important crossroad in Kupiansk. And since the bridges were hit, you can see Ukraine even lost one of the vehicles there. Yeah, it was hit very close to the bridge, so Ukraine has to use some of the pontoon bridges. But Russia targets those constantly, so this is the same bridge where I showed you the Ukrainian vehicle. Oskil River is wide, so Ukraine has no chance but to deploy pontoons. And since Russia hits everything of that, it is very hard for Ukraine to operate in this entire region, so I don't see perspective for Ukraine to hold it for extensive period of time, unfortunately. Also, we have the situation in Kharkiv region, Vovchansk. Russians managed to assault with infantry groups straight to the settlement. So far, they expanded the gray area, but in Vovchansk, there were no heavy fights for already extensive period of time. Now, they are. And let's go to the south direction of Dnipropetrovsk, Zaporizhia and Donetsk Oblast. There Russia has success. Yeah, unfortunately, they're taking settlement after settlement, moving every day with small portions of the ground. If we go to the deep state, I guess they also have the update. Yes, Russians moved towards Verbove over here, plus Yehorivka village, the gray zone expanded, almost touching it. So yesterday, today. And if we go to August, for example, you see August, the first one, and it is today. So definitely Russia is moving in this place. Ukraine is still not capable to stop this major offensive and will not be capable until Russians reach Pokrovsk and the main defense line of Ukraine. I think like that. Or maybe they will be stopped by this river, Vovcha river, that can go something like that, but yeah, they still move. And we already have the Putin's reaction on sanctions and so on. He basically sings the same song, and Russia will continue this war. It is understandable from his rhetorics. He said that it was a mistake, that no one may scare the strong country as Russia. Plus, if there are some of the Tomahawk missiles supplied to Ukraine, Russia is ready and will respond. How? Well, he didn't specify. He was cheerful. He doesn't care about those sanctions, really, from what I understood. He was even joking about European sanctions that touch even the toilet delivery to Russia. Yeah, how Russians will survive without any toilets. And I personally think that Russia may definitely intensify the strikes on Ukraine. By the way, from Putin, it is understandable that idea for the Budapest meeting was coming from Donald Trump. But now it's been cancelled, while Putin says that it was after all postponed. Interesting, there is the report coming also from the Russian media that the Russian army ordered 53 of the unique caliber cruise missiles equipped with nuclear warhead. They should be made till 2026. Is there something special about this? Well, I'm not sure. Maybe their army wants to equip their ships and submarines with calibers. Oh, interesting. China state major companies suspend Russian oil buys due to sanctions, sources say. Wow. Are those good news? Well, not too much, they just suspended temporarily. Private Chinese companies still continue to purchase, and even state companies continue to purchase, just using pipelines. For now, Chinese state companies avoid to operate with Russian ships, with a shadow fleet, just not to get the secondary sanctions, but private companies, again, they continue to fully operate. So China may create some of the private companies and continue to operate with Russia. And if they go under sanctions, well, China will create a bunch of new ones. After all, it's just a name of the company, and those sanctions are not applied for government, just for the corporations and banks. Okay, that's the Russian oil refinery in Ryazan. It caught fire somehow. Yeah, the last night. Ukrainian drones are very, very effective. Well, the locals say that it was something flying really fast. Could be a flamingo. Why not? Zelensky said today that flamingo will be used and the range of it is 3,000 kilometers. Guys, please follow me on Patreon, it's in the video description just below, or on membership of this channel. By supporting my job, you make my content possible. Thank you so much for it. My friends, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.